By now, you guys have probably heard about the new trial shotgun, the Astral Horizon. This thing has been causing quite a stir in the Destiny community, as a lot of people are really excited to try and get it, and a lot of people are also really unhappy with the way people are farming for this gun, which pretty much boils down to farming 1 to 3 wins in trials, then resetting for tokens, and so on. Now, some of you might be wondering, why all the fuss about this gun in particular? We've had a lot of cool shotguns before. What's so special about this gun? Is this the new Mindbenders? And today we're going to take a look at it and see what makes this gun so desirable. Now, this gun is a gun that I personally have been waiting for a long time to get in Destiny, basically ever since Mindbenders was released. And it's basically a perfect storm of 3 really important factors. This gun has 3 things going for it that in combination make it one of the best shotguns in the game. The first thing going for it is the fact that it's a kinetic shotgun. Now, being a kinetic shotgun doesn't necessarily make it good by any means, but the reason it's important that it's a kinetic is because it is not competing directly with Mindbenders. Mindbenders is in the energy slot, and if this shotgun was in the energy slot, it would have to be better than Mindbenders in order to be run. But since it's in the kinetic slot, it doesn't have to compete with Mindbenders directly. This also means it opens up your energy slot for primaries. You could run a bunch of different primaries. You could run like Not Forgotten is the most obvious one. Even if you don't have one, a really nice Waking Vigil would do. The new Trials auto rifle is in the energy slot. Hard Light, which everybody is obviously using a bunch right now, is in the energy slot. So having the shotgun in the kinetic slot opens up a lot of primary options for your loadout. Now, just being kinetic alone isn't enough, because obviously we've had a lot of kinetic shotguns before, but the next thing in this gun's favor is the fact that it is an aggressive frame shotgun. Now, aggressive frame shotguns are currently the most desirable shotguns to use for PvP because they have the highest impact stat intrinsically. Now, there's basically no way to raise your impact stat apart from just having the right archetype, so by having an aggressive frame shotty, you've basically already got the highest possible impact. And impact is really important because it is the most important stat for determining how hard your shotgun hits, or in other words, how far out it can one-shot kill. So this means that aggressive frame shotguns can kill at the longest range. They have the biggest one-hit kill range, which obviously for Crucible is very important. Now, being an aggressive frame isn't special in and of itself. We obviously already have a bunch of aggressive frame shotguns in the game. We have the Imperial Decree in the kinetic slot, we have the Balagan, and of course we have a couple in the energy slot as well. So even being in the kinetic slot and being an aggressive frame shotgun is not what sets this gun apart. The third thing that makes this gun special is the fact that it can roll Quickdraw. Now, Quickdraw is by far the most important perk to have on any shotgun for PvP. Doesn't matter what kind of gun you're running, Quickdraw is pretty much always going to be useful for you, and especially on aggressive frames, it's extremely important. The reason being, pulling your shotgun out very quickly is extremely important for pretty much any kind of shotgun playstyle. When you're shotgunning at high levels of play, you need to be able to swap between your shotgun and your primary very, very quickly in order to respond to threats. A lot of people say that, oh, Quickdraw is just a crutch, oh, it's just for bad positioning. And this is really not an accurate assessment of the perk and of how the game is played at higher levels of play. When you're facing players who know what they are doing with their shotguns and they know when to push and when to hang back and when to use their primary, you need to be able to respond to these threats as quickly as possible. So for example, if you're sliding out a corner, you might slide it with your shotgun out because you think that someone is around that corner, but it turns out they were pushed just a little bit too far out of the shotgun range because they were baiting you to slide the corner, and now you have to immediately swap to your primary and take a primary fight. Same kind of thing for if you're holding an angle with your primary and suddenly somebody pushes up on you. Even if you're able to jump back and create a little space, you need to get that shotty out as quickly as possible in order to respond to the threat. The best way I kind of visualize it is Quickdraw is to PvP kind of the same thing as Outlaw or Feeding Frenzy is to PvE. Bungie kind of artificially lowers the reload speed on guns in the game so that you have a reason to chase reload perks. Ideally, in PvE, the reload perk is your default state. You want that faster reload speed. And so Bungie designs the guns with lower reload speed so that you have something to chase in the form of the reload perk. Same thing with Quick Draw for shotguns in PvP. You need that extra speed, so it makes the perk valuable. Now again, Quick Draw in and of itself does not necessarily make the gun special, although it is always really, really good, and any shotgun that has it is worth chasing. But the fact that this is a shotgun in the kinetic slot that is aggressive frame with Quick Draw Those three things together is what makes this shotgun really powerful and really unique, because we have never had a kinetic, aggressive frame shotgun with Quickdraw in Destiny 2 before. Now, if we're comparing it to Mindbender's, this is basically almost the exact same criteria. Mindbender's is an aggressive frame with Quickdraw, but it's in the energy slot. And this is why people are so excited for Astral Horizon, because it's basically a kinetic Mindbender's. Now, in addition to all of what I've just said, Astral Horizon actually has a very interesting perk pool to draw from as well. If we're looking at the first column of traits, Quickdraw is pretty much your go-to option. You do have Slide Shot, but I would honestly say it's not worth losing Quickdraw for Slide Shot. The one possible exception I would say is if you have a really high handling build, like a Dragon Shadow or an Ophidian Aspect build. But even then, Quickdraw is just so good and gives you that extra little edge that I would still honestly probably just prefer to have the Quickdraw. But looking at the second column, we have several interesting options. The three that really stand out to me are Swashbuckler, Celerity, and Opening Shot. Now, Swashbuckler is really obvious why it would be good on a shotgun. You're going to be meleeing a lot, and meleeing with Swashbuckler gives you the max stats immediately, and that's just a really nice damage increase. Extra damage means your gun gets more consistent with its kill ranges and is more likely to kill at longer ranges. Celerity is the new Trials specific trait that only appears on Trials weapons, at least so far, and it gives you a bunch of bonus effects when you're the last person on your fire team. You get increased target acquisition, increased handling and reload, and you get reduced flinch. All of these are incredibly, incredibly good. The main one for this shotgun would be the increased target acquisition, which presumably is going to help with bullet magnetism and hit reg at slightly longer ranges. So that, again, is extremely good. Anything that helps you confirm kills at longer ranges on a shotgun is highly desirable. And, you know, the reduced flinch and the better handling and reload speed are just nice bonuses on top. The main perk that everyone really wants on this gun, in addition to Quickdraw, is Opening Shot, which is just a base improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of your attack. So the first shot you fire, you get the buff and it consumes it, and then wait a couple of seconds before firing and you get it again. So not only do you have the perfect trifecta of kinetic, aggressive frame, and Quickdraw, but you can throw Opening Shot on top of that, which almost no other gun in the game can roll as far as shotguns go. Mindbenders can roll Opening Shot, but only on the curated roll, which cannot roll with Quickdraw. So Mindbenders can't get the two together. So Astral Horizon in that regard is actually even slightly better than Mindbenders. Now, one place where Astral Horizon does fall short is you do not get to have a Slide Shot Quickdraw combo, which Mindbenders can do. My Mindbenders does have a nearly perfect roll with Quickdraw and Slide Shot. And I gotta tell you, Slide Shot is incredibly good on shotguns. I see Slide Shot as a sort of counter to Opening Shot, or at least it's sort of like a side grade. They both kind of do similar things. Opening Shot gives you improved accuracy and range on the first shot. Slide Shot boosts your range and stability. The boosted range should help with your bullet magnetism, which kind of is the same thing as Opening Shot. Stability is not really important on the shotgun, but then it also partially reloads the magazine while you slide. So think of it as Opening Shot gives you better range and bullet magnetism on the first shot you fire. Slide Shot does the same thing whenever you slide, with a short cooldown obviously, and it also reloads the gun. Comparing the two together, I would honestly give a slight edge to Slide Shot on a shotgun. And the reason being able to reload the gun while sliding is such an important utility factor, because at least the way I play very fast and aggressive with my shotgun, and not having to ever stop and reload a shot is incredibly useful. Even if you're like sliding over ammo and the gun is completely empty, it will automatically load a shot into the gun for you, so you can constantly stay moving and never have to worry about stopping to reload. Now, the advantage to Opening Shot that I see is you can get that range buff while jumping. With Slide Shot, you have to be in a slide to get the range buff, which keeps you on the ground. With Opening Shot, you can get that increased target acquisition from the air. So it's kind of preference as to which one you prefer, but obviously you don't really have a choice for the guns. For Astral, you can get Opening Shot Quickdraw, and for Mindbenders, you can get Opening Shot Slide Shot. Those are your options. As for the last couple of perks, I highly, highly recommend for the magazine going for Assault Mag. This increases the rate of fire of your shotgun by, I think it's about, I can't remember if it's 5 RPM or 10 RPM, but it's a nice little increase to your RPM, which is very important because aggressive frames are the slowest firing shotguns in the game. And Assault Mag obviously helps with that, but it also synergizes really well with Aggressive Frames, because Aggressive Frames have a cool little intrinsic trait perk, which is they get increased rate of fire after a kill, and that will stack with the increased rate of fire from Assault Mag. So combining the two together, after you get a kill with Assault Mag, you actually fire quite fast with the shotgun. It gets, I'm pretty sure it definitely gets above precision rate of fire, and it gets close to the 80 RPM lightweight frames. So you get a lot of mileage out of Assault Mag. And with the recent changes to shotguns, it seems like range is really not that important right now. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that range is useless. We don't really know for sure yet, and a lot of people still have to do the testing, but it seems like range has much less of an effect on your shotgun's kill range. And the bullet magnetism was also tweaked to not be drawn so heavily to the head, I believe, is what Bungie said. So range is really not quite the be-all end-all of shotguns anymore. From what I can tell, it feels like there's sort of a range cap, so once you hit that cap, range is not really useful anymore. So maybe just go for a range masterwork or a high range barrel, and then instead of going for accurized, you want the Assault Mag for the increased fire rate. Now, I personally got a very solid roll from my first 3 wins in Trials last weekend. I got a roll with Corkscrew, Assault Mag, Quickdraw, 1-2 punch, and a reload masterwork. The 1-2 punch isn't that crazy. I suppose it's useful maybe for killing a really high armor super, although I'm pretty sure if you hit it right that an aggressive frame shotty plus a melee will kill anyways, even without 1-2 punch. So the only scenario I could think of where it might be useful is maybe for killing a Titan in a bubble. 1-2 punch, not the greatest perk to get in that last column. I definitely would have preferred opening shot or maybe celerity, but you know, it's not terrible either. It's a solid perk, and I guess I could use it in PvE a little bit. The main thing for me was I really wanted the Quickdraw, and I really wanted the Assault Mag. I honestly would have taken Assault Mag with Quickdraw and 1-2 punch, probably over Quickdraw and opening shot, because that fire rate is super important when you're engaging multiple people. And I got the Reload Masterwork, which ordinarily I wouldn't be happy about, but like I said, it doesn't seem like range is that important. So as far as Masterworks go, Reload in this instance actually seems pretty good to me because range doesn't seem that important. Stability is not that necessary on a shotgun, and handling ordinarily would be really good, but with Quickdraw, my handling is pretty much maxed, and so I wouldn't see any increase in handling from a handling masterwork. So having a reload masterwork to increase my reload speed is actually pretty useful because it helps me get back in a fight much faster. And again, like I said, I don't have slide shot to auto reload for me, so having that increased reload speed actually helps quite a bit. So in conclusion, this shotgun is the perfect storm of all the right traits and perks. It is 100% competitive. You're probably going to see a lot of this shotgun in the next year, as it is extremely reliable and lethal. I highly recommend picking one up when you get the chance. If you try it out, you will not be disappointed. I hope this review was helpful for you guys. If you got a good roll on your Astral, let me know what it is down in the comments. Tell me what you think about the gun. I'm having a blast with it personally. It feels amazing and it looks awesome too. But that's gonna do it for this video. Once again, my name is Oxy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.